How do you feel after 5 practices?
Good. It's been an adjustment with Coach Sig's offense, and really feel like the guys are playing hard, learning some new keys. But give Coach Sig a lot of credit and give our guys a lot of credit as well for continuing to work through some things. But I'm happy with a lot of guys on D-line. A lot of guys are developing and really starting to show their game elevated.
On Tuesday, Dave Borbely talked about with the O-line, with these older guys, you first come in as freshmen, it's 100-level classes, and you're moving up, and he said he's now like sort of graduate level. You've got a lot of returning guys experience yet. Are you at that point too, where you can really get intricacies with some of these older guys?
Yeah, and this is probably the biggest group that I've had that I'm able to have those next level conversations. I mean, I look here at my depth chart. I mean, Deslin, Morgan, also known as Trap Walker, right? Dayon Hayes, I had to throw that plug in for him. Nate Temple, Cansey, Bentley, Devin, David Green, who had a great practice today. These are all guys I can have high-level conversations with, and I'm excited about where their game is.
With Dayon specifically, what are you looking to see out of him to express?
Well, what's fun for me is now he's putting together effort and technique and knowledge. And when you combine those three things as a defensive lineman, you have a chance for a lot of success, and he's shown a lot more signs of doing all three of those things here in the first 5 practices. He's really elevated his game.
Those who don't have him, and obviously, where do you see him taking that next step for season?
Well, the fun thing is he comes to me after practice and is kind of referencing his question. He's already got cut-ups made of himself, put in different sections. These are things that he built to watch with me. That's a sign of a guy who's approaching the game like a pro. And there was somewhere around half a dozen sacks last year that he was within inches of, and he's looking for that extra inch to put 5 or 6 more sacks on his game, and TFLs and things like that as well. But obviously they're all trying to get to the quarterback. So he's at that point in his game where he's fighting for that extra inch, and he'll find it with the way he's preparing for practice every day.
He spent a couple of years with Rashad and Patrick. How much do you think he absorbed from seeing those guys in the last couple of years of their careers and is applying it sort of what he's doing now, his approach to everything?
Without a doubt. What's fun is I kind of got a group that comes in early in the morning. That's your 100 level class, and then some of the older guys will come in and take part in that. And then there's some very cool night conversations where guys come in voluntarily on their own and ask for extra. And Haba's the one that comes to both. It's pretty cool to hear him take the 300 level class and then walk into the 100 level class and teach those guys. I mean, he's another coach in the room. So I couldn't be happier about having him as a leader in the room.
With Elijah, the steps that you hope to see him make. First of all, when you go back and look at the film from last year, I guess what have you seen that impressed you in any areas that you think that maybe he can improve on?
Sure. Well, I think one of the things that he's going to have to prove to himself at the next level is just continue to, and he did a nice job, so I don't want to mislead you with my answer here. But as we know, he's smaller in stature than some D tackles. I have no problem with that, and neither will the next level, as we know from another guy whose name is right there, okay? And I'm not comparing him to Aaron, but he's got some of those skill sets. It's the double teams on the run game where they try and go right at him, where his technique really needs to be on the level of almost perfection. When he does that, he can split double teams and make great plays, but those are things he's going to have to continue to be consistent with. He's definitely done it. He's proven he can do it. As he gets consistent with it, then he's going to be special for a while in this game.
How much has he embraced that in terms of the film and work and the class and everything?
The thing that's fun going into my 6th year back here, my 11th total, is there's a standard in the room, and there's an expectation from player to player about guys coming in and getting extra. And Elijah's one of those guys that's holding other people accountable to that because he holds himself so accountable to doing extra things. These guys they're workhorses. The guys that are coming in and learning it, they're realizing that there's a high standard in the defensive line room in terms of preparation, which hopefully translates to production on Saturdays.
To the point where if there's a young guy or somebody doing the wrong thing or not exposed to you, the one of the older guys, you don't have to say it.
Yes, there was actually a point coming off of spring break on Tuesday where we were in the middle of a drill and I made a quick coaching point. Then I went to the other active part of the drill and I looked back and I didn't see the level of follow-up from the players in line. fun that standard is set right now. Hopefully we can keep it going.
All those older guys and experienced guys. What about some of the younger? Even somebody like Dan Marino that has played a ton.
Yeah.
Until late this season last year. Elliott Donald, Guy Johnson. What are you seeing out of that?
So Bam is by far playing his best football, far and away. Run, pass, he's swinging, moving inside and outside, playing tackle and playing end. He's going to be a guy that rotates. He's going to be deep in the rotation this year. Elliott's continuing to work on being consistent with his fundamentals, but he's showing flashes. The guy is really, really playing physical. Fitzsimmons is way ahead of the curve, who has prom in like 3 weeks, and Sam Williams is a guy that I know you probably saw some of his stuff on social media that he popped out there. He's got a ton of talent, and I don't know, I can't remember if I talked about the recruiting story with him, but Sam interviewed me. He really did, and it was a very cool experience for me. He was asking me during the recruiting process some pretty high-level questions for a high school senior, so he's approaching things the way I kind of expected him to, ahead of the curve in terms of his level of questions and his approach on a deal.